Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 10. We're in the double digits, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
We're doing it.
Episode 10 of Punchline Pixels. I am your host, Laird Wysocki. With me, as always, is my fresh and supple co-host, Alex Van Dam.
Hello. Hello, everybody.
How you been?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Just, God.
I feel like it's a loaded pretty good.
Is this going to turn into the mental health Alex Van Dam? Welcome to the Alex Van Dam's Mental Health Happy Hour podcast. That's what's happening today again already. No, I'm doing all right. The normal stresses of life. But between those stresses and where we find just a little bit of solace is in video games.
Oh, man. Somebody put that on a fucking t-shirt.
Yeah.
That's some good shit right there.
It's a little wordy, but I think it would work maybe
We'll clean it up. Yeah. We'll clean it up in post.
It's okay. We're doing a lot of post cleanups here.
So it's been a while since we've recorded. It's probably been 3 weeks since we posted our last episode. A lot of shit's happened in the industry since then. It's been such a busy time, man. Right before our last episode went out, all that news about Xbox came out, about them not really, kind of shifting their focus from consoles and putting some of their exclusives on other parties' consoles. So that was just something that we could maybe briefly touch on. But short of that, I mean, it's just the floodgates are opening with some games right now.
Yeah, there's been a lot of positives, obviously, but, and I don't want to dwell on the negatives too much, but there has been a lot of layoffs, as usual, in the industry.
Yeah.
Some negative things that have happened. I know there was a lot of layoffs, like I said, in EA.
Yep.
And in particular, Respawn.
I know.
They stopped the Mandalorian shooter that they were going to be
shame.
releasing. That looked like a good one. I like what Respawn does, obviously, Titanfall and stuff like that. Supposedly, they're still working on something within that universe.
Yeah.
But
not Titanfall 3.
Yeah. Could
Frustratingly
be Apex related.
Well, apparently those are all in the same universe, but
either way, they're not going to be doing the Mandalorian shooter, and that's what upsets
do you think
me.
that would have been in the same universe too?
No, I don't.
Because that would have created a huge canon right there.
Yeah, that would have been weird. Yeah,
I'm kind of sick of connected universes.
Woo! Come on, baby. We gotta talk about.
We're in a new, at least temporary studio as of now. This is a room that Alex didn't know existed until today in our house. I've been doing a lot of work in here. New couch, mustard yellow. Love it. It's like a spicy brown. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's much brighter in a brighter room too.
I put it on a Reuben. I would put it on a Reuben.
God, it was here.
But yeah.
But yeah, we've been working in here, so kind of got it established for doing some more artistic things in this back room.
Yeah.
My dog has come to say hello. Yeah, you're gonna have to leave. Go, leave. No,
I think you should leave, right?
Out.
Anyway,
okay.
Yeah, so
just staying.
We're good. We're good. So other than that, though, other than that, there's no negatives that I really need to talk about.
No. I think one of the only other negatives to touch on is how badly the release of Sea of Thieves went.
Oh,
which
you
is
mean
almost
Skull and Bones.
Skull and Bones, thank you. I knew I was going to fuck that up, man.
Yeah, you mixed them up earlier,
I did. Skull and Bones. Yeah. Exactly. This is a trend.
I had to call them
out. This is not the
that.
first time I've messed it up. It won't be the last time either.
It's understandable to mix those up, I guess. But, Skull and Bones released to tepid response.
Tepid.
And, honestly, it looks like it could be fun. Somewhat, but the fact that they called it a quadruple A experience
isn't it the douchiest thing ever, dude?
I think they kind of just set themselves up for that failure completely.
But if they didn't say that, they still would have failed. You know what I mean? Just the problem. The problem is that's deceptive marketing to some extent. They look at a budget and they go, "Oh, this must be quadruple A." It's like, no, it's because you've been fucking working on that game for a decade now, man.
Yeah, well, that's one way to, I guess, liven up. Some sort of
bolster some sort of like conversation around the game. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's like no news is good news, but I think in the gaming industry, all news is good news, or like there's no such thing as bad news. I don't think that's true with the gaming industry.
No.
I think one fucking bad thing Gamers are very opinionated cunts, like I've said previously, and they're always
like
going.
That word,
especially when I'm talking about gamers.
No,
Throwing it in, baby. 3 weeks out. You know, we haven't recorded in a while, and I'm coming in with the hard C.
Coming in hot.
Yep.
Coming in hot. We gotta, slow it down a little bit. We're in our new studio here. This is a little more casual. All right.
Well, then I'm going to be more casual with my conversation.
Yeah, that's fair.
Don't stifle me.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to stifle you.
And I'd say the only other bad news, and then we can swing into more interesting things, was the release of Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League.
Another
Yeah.
swing and a miss.
So, I mean, you got these big budget games from honestly really reputable industry veterans developing these. And because of sometimes, man, I think it's just the model that they put it after.
Well, it's interesting because it's the live service model that's been discussed in the past. But you look at that, and then a studio like Warner Brothers has come out and actually just said that they're gonna they want to shift into more live service games.
Like Hogwarts Legacy should have been that.
Yeah. Which I understand from a business standpoint because it's going to constantly generate some sort of income. And that game kind of fell off pretty quick. But
yeah, it did.
I don't know. And obviously with the success of a game, not to jump any further ahead, but Helldivers 2 is a live service game that is very successful. But they're doing it completely right. I mean, I don't know. Do you want to shift into talking about that too much?
I'm down to shift into Helldivers too, but I also would just want to comment on the fact that a live service Harry Potter game is a great idea.
Yeah.
That's the problem with it. Live service doesn't have to be bad inherently. It's just the problem is you have these, probably CEOs and people of higher up positions making these decisions that aren't maybe creatively rooted. If you had a live service game that was creatively rooted, like Helldivers, or had some passion in it, it works, dude.
Yeah.
And people love it because you get brand new shit quite often, and especially if it's just pay to play, not pay to win, it's ideal, dude. Because then it's like you're still incentivized to play the game, grind it out. You have to like that style of game, but I think a live action Harry Potter game is gonna sell, or people will download it like crazy.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, dude.
Absolutely, but you nailed it right there when you said that it needs to be creatively rooted. I mean, because obviously a lot of these games seem like they've come up with the IP concept of wanting to make money first and then building the game around
absolutely,
that.
Dude.
And that's,
They're kind of shallow
people see through that bullshit now,
especially gamers.
People see through the bullshit.
Yep. Here's the problem. You have this generation of gamers who know what they want out of games. And then you have CEOs come in who most likely weren't gamers. And I don't think that's inherently bad. The problem is they're making decisions for gamers that aren't rooted in anything gamers want.
Yeah.
They need to just listen to the constituents more.
Mm-hmm.
We'll tell them what they should make, dude.
That game is heavily discounted already.
Which one?
Suicide Squad. I've seen it discounted across the board.
They've already come out and said it was a failure. So let's be honest, they've given up on it already. You're not going to see Cyberpunk Revolution come from that game.
No.
I think maybe some DLC and skins, but dude, it's like skins is just not enough of a reason to push a game. Especially for what they charge. So enough of the bad news. That's all the shitty stuff that happens.
Being too negative to start the fucking
I
show,
thrive in
this
negative
is episode
environments.
10, okay? We gotta. I know I'm out of frame now, but we gotta get up. We gotta bolster this shit with a little energy,
folks.
Okay.
Leave in the comments if you think we should get out of the studio because he's getting too comfortable like that.
I'm happy to be here on the couch. Okay. And but
you're away from your mic though.
Oh, that's also a very good point. Forgot about the audio aspect.
So, shifting into a more positive aspect, though. Helldivers 2. You've been playing it.
Yeah, so we can, this is our hot new segment that we do. Currently playing. What are you...
Whoa!
I call it, what the fuck you playing?
And we'll have a cool intro thing like...
What the fuck you playing? So what the fuck you playing, Larry?
No, I want to start with you because we're going to talk about Helldivers.
Yeah, so what the fuck I've been playing? I've been playing Helldivers 2.
Yep.
We'll start there.
Yeah.
Helldivers 2 is a blast. No pun intended. That's stupid.
There's no blast in the title.
Well, yeah, but there's a lot of explosions.
Okay, then you wouldn't describe half the things, but
which is one of the things that's great about the game. They really nailed it with that game.
Yeah.
It's just a fun, freaking arcadey style shooter to play with your friends.
Yep.
It harkens back to older days a little bit. What, you like that I said the word harken? It's your word. I took it. I took the word from him.
Yep. You sound better saying it than me.
I'm comfortable. We're on the couch. Yeah, no, it's great. Fucking, yeah, the animations in the game are great. The audio in the game's great. The gameplay itself is a lot of fun. Obviously it went off to a little bit of a shaky start.
In terms of server support.
Yeah. But they didn't foresee the success. I mean, everything that we're seeing, it's like beating a dead horse at this point. It's been said, but
absolutely.
You know, the next like few months are going to be absolutely crucial, though. I think in order to keep support and keep that game successful in the player base, because they have such an opportunity, and they're already kind of, in my opinion, tarnishing it just a little bit, squandering this opportunity.
How come?
I don't know. They've hired new developers and stuff like that, but I think that they're working on it. I know, and I'm not being fair, but they need to, I think they need to release more like daily challenges, more like little hooks.
So you want more of that live service aspect to it? A
little bit. I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah.
So I don't think I think they did. The microtransactions are exactly what that is.
Yeah.
They're microtransactions, which a lot of games you can buy fucking $100 packs for, a horse that you can ride around or whatever the hell it is.
It's a classic Elder Scrolls Oblivion right there.
But so I think they're doing that. None of the skins are too expensive. I think they nailed it as far as that goes, and the progression and everything like that. But God. Yeah.
Sorry, the dog is distracting.
Go lay down, dude. But Helldivers, yeah, it's really good.
I think it's great. Firstly, to see a small developer do so well with one of their releases.
Yeah.
And secondly, I enjoy seeing this game knows exactly what it is, dude. It stays in its lane and it does what it wants to do so well.
What it wants to do?
What it swans to do. There's plenty of swans in there.
Yeah.
But it's like it's not trying to play. It's not trying to check all the boxes of a live service game in terms of its identity. It gets it and it fucking executes it well. And maybe that's shallow. You know what I mean? Maybe that's why it needs that live support a little bit better, because once you look at the whole of it, it might be a little bit shallow of an experience, but it's just so rich while you're doing it.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
I like the vibe it has. This kind of almost like cheesy, semi like patriotic, like Starship Troopers. That's fun.
I could see some more, tie-ins like that. I hope they continue to bring the silliness with the updates and things like that. They're obviously going to add mechs. They're going to add things like that you saw in the first game. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they do, but I think the next few months are going to be crucial in order to keep that player base.
Absolutely, dude.
And they have to execute it. But I have faith that they will. Even with the small team that they have, they nailed it as far as that game goes.
Nailed it, baby.
Check all the boxes. But other than that, I've been playing. I just started Final Fantasy VII, the first remake.
Oh, not
Rebirth.
Okay,
which Rebirth looks phenomenal, so they've hooked me into wanting to play the remake.
So you hadn't played remake before. Now you're going back and playing it.
I've played it, but I never beat it. So I'm playing it. I'm actually starting from the beginning. I hope to beat it and then play Rebirth.
What's the thing that stopped you before? The fact that it was all in Midgar?
Yeah. That kind of took me out of it a little bit.
I understand that. But it's unappealing for sure.
Yeah. Are you afraid of me? Come on, bud. Let's hold hands this entire show.
Okay, but Final Fantasy VII Remake, what is your thoughts so far?
It's great. I mean, everything that's been said, I'm repeating that. I'm very early in my replay through it. Like I said, I never beat it before, but I mean, everything's great so far. It's got the aspects of the Final Fantasy, what is it, 16 that just came out this past year?
Yep.
It's got aspects of that combat that I like, but not as serious as that fucking game takes itself.
Which is good, because it seems like that's what a lot of the critiques were in that game.
And that game got, most critics loved it, but that was a game that
not this critic, though.
Said plenty of times.
Right.
I'm gonna go back and revisit it.
Well, and speaking of assets, how about Tifa's assets? Am I right?
Look good, dude. Woo! Supposedly there's a romance option in Rebirth.
Man. Does it matter though if
if I'm romancing her in my mind all the time. Is that what you're saying?
Since that we've all been romancing her since 13 years old.
Yes. Then it doesn't really matter.
Oh man,
Helps to visualize it a little bit. But
it's such a like animeism when it comes to like some of the things in that game with like Final Fantasies.
Yeah.
With just the cliches of like those characters as well, but like that's what Tifa's known for, man.
Yeah.
Like that was the heart of many teenage boys' focus. Their hearts were on for her.
That's very true.
But needless to say, Rebirth looks phenomenal. It seems I've heard somebody compare it to Final Fantasy's Breath of the Wild, where it's kind of now you have this big open expanse of a situation. I haven't watched too much on it, but I also like the fact that, you know, they went and remade a game, but they've done something different. Now, you know, I don't want to ever talk anything spoilers narratively, but, you know, where you go and play a Resident Evil 2 remake, it stays pretty synonymous and true to the original, where this one kind of goes off on its own and subverts expectations. So
I'm just curious why this one came out so soon after the first remake, and it took them fucking like a decade or over a decade to come out with the first remake.
But that makes sense. The engine's already developed.
No, dude. Let me keep going with this premise.
Please,
false premise that you shut down immediately. God, yeah. Other than that, I've also been playing a game that's a top reviewed game on Steam right now, called Balatro. I don't know if you're familiar with this at all. It's a poker-like roguelike game.
I've seen the previews.
It's actually pretty fucking interesting.
I've heard it's very addictive too.
Yeah. So that fucking whatever. I know I'm skipping ahead a little bit here, but that solitaire bullshit game that we were gonna mention at some point, maybe
that you were gonna mention. Yeah,
but perhaps I don't even. It
was on the Nintendo Direct.
What it's called. I don't even.
It was
know
one with the horses on the Nintendo Direct.
Yeah. That looks fun to me
for sure.
Because that shit's up my A.
They wouldn't make them. They wouldn't make them if people didn't like it.
Yeah, that's true. So I've been playing that, and then I also just started Pentiment on my Switch.
Obsidian.
So yeah.
So folks, that also kind of comes along with the Xbox news that we announced. With Xbox stopping their focus on consoles, they're releasing some of their IPs onto existing platforms. So Pentiment is an Obsidian game that was Xbox exclusive, is now Nintendo Switch. Grounded is coming out April 16th for the Switch and maybe the PlayStation as well. I don't recall. Another Obsidian game that was developed. And then also Hi-Fi Rush, March 9th, will be coming out for PlayStation. And Sea of Thieves, April 30th, will be coming out. So those are the big names from Xbox that'll start showcasing on other consoles. So what do you think of that news, by the way?
I mean, it's interesting. It's not exactly Xbox accepting failure, but I think it is in a little bit of a way.
Right. Probably should have done it like 2 systems ago. I
mean, I don't know, man. I'm curious to see what they do now with the next console war, you know?
Well, you know,
what it's going to be when Nintendo releases a new system, which I assume they'll be behind the times on, like they always are.
Right.
And then...
graphically, at least.
Graphically
and performance.
And internet capability-wise.
Ain't that the truth.
But, you know, other than that, yeah, I don't know. PlayStation will probably always be a fucking in the forefront of the console.
Well, there's no competition for it anymore. You know, if Xbox stops, nothing competes with PlayStation except PC.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, I'm very interested to see Grounded. I believe it is coming to PlayStation 5.
Is it? Okay, for sure. But, it makes sense too.
Sea of Thieves is a game that I'll probably visit for the first time once that comes out.
Yeah, I find that far more interesting than fucking Skull and Bones. So if I were to consider a pirate game, it'd either be Sea of Thieves or Assassin's Creed Black Flag again.
Yeah.
I don't know if it gets much better than that.
I thought about restarting that game soon. I heard it hasn't aged at all.
I played it again like 2 years ago. I did a full playthrough again on my PS3. It was great, dude. Yeah. I mean, it's just it's like that old school Assassin's Creed. I mean, I know they try to do that with Mirage, and apparently it's not really necessarily as enjoyable as it once was, I guess. But to go back and play it's kind of nice. Sometimes it's nice to not have free reign over everything and be directed a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, we're in this world of Breath in the Wilds and Elden Rings, where it's like sometimes I prefer that like narratively led story, you know?
I was just recently thinking about that, actually. Yeah, I completely agree with you. The open world gets a little overwhelming at times, and I like a linear experience from time to time.
Absolutely.
Alan Wake, for instance. Absolutely, you know, I'd love a game I'll probably be talking about for years.
Can we talk about it, dude? Because I finally beat it.
You beat it. Okay,
beat Alan Wake
we
2.
can talk about Alan Wake 2.
I mean,
what
listen.
you been playing?
Yeah, so I'll
the
shift.
Fuck you been playing
I'll shift onto that because
I've
I've actually been playing quite a bit and beating quite a bit. So it's nice that I'm finally like, that's right. You know how I do. You know how I do.
Yeah.
I'm beating and beating over here. Beat Alan Wake 2. So good, dude. So fucking good, dude. I mean, I don't have really any complaints about that game. I think it did everything so well. I love Remedy's mixing of live action with gaming, like they've always done with Control. And
I just mindfuck. The ending was a little. I don't know. It's interesting, man. There's going to be another game in that universe. There's probably going to be some sort of DLC.
Well, there is. There's 2 DLCs planned coming out, and they're already named, and they're story DLCs. So that's been promised.
Oh.
But if you play through the New Game Plus, you get a different ending that continues the ending to tell more about the ending.
God, dude, I don't know when I'm going to be able to do that.
I know. I might do another playthrough when the DLCs come out.
There's so many games
I know.
that I need to cut. I know. Trust me. Sounded
I get it.
I still need to play more Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth.
Oh, man.
Fantastic game, but a game that requires quite a bit of time.
Absolutely, dude.
From what I've heard, Rebirth is a long fucking game, too. Remake wasn't as long, from what I know.
But if Rebirth is the Breath of the Wild for Final Fantasy, then it makes sense.
Yeah. I like my games like I like my women. Somewhere in their 20s, as far as hours go.
20 hours old?
No, I realized that joke maybe felt
you set me up. You set me up.
Oh, no.
You heard it here, folks. You heard it here first.
No, but that's about the length that I prefer.
I'm not taking the low-hanging fruit. We're going on. But needless to say, beat Alan Wake 2, loved it. I probably will do another playthrough when the DLC comes out. If you haven't played it yet and you like single-player narrative games, play it. Nobody's making a story as in-depth as that, or as thought-provoking, or as unique and original. It's the most original game I've played.
The setting's fantastic too, and the just Twin Peaks-esque vibe is great, which is a show that I found out this guy has never seen.
I need to.
Kyle MacLachlan.
Kyle MacLachlan.
And apparently is in the upcoming Fallout show.
Yes, that's right. So shifting to that, actually just today, before we recorded this, I think like a couple hours ago, they released the Fallout Amazon Prime series preview.
Oh, that was a brand new trailer.
Yeah, it was like a half hour.
We just watched that together.
So, what'd you think?
It looks really good. I'm the known people in it look great. Obviously, Walton Goggins.
Heavy lifting right there for him.
The fucking just the set, like we've talked about, looked fantastic. I hope the 2 main characters, I don't know who either of them are.
I don't think they're like necessarily like canon with like a game lore by any means.
Well, I just hope. I mean, I just don't know who the actors are.
I see. Yeah.
I hope that they can hold their own.
She seemed kind of familiar.
Did she?
But even if here's the problem though, even if they have been in something before, it doesn't mean they can hold their own.
That's what I mean. The acting. I mean, I hope they can nail it as far as that goes.
I think it's a little worrisome. That's an Amazon Prime series.
Yeah.
They have not historically done well with franchises or properties. I'm looking at Rings of Power and Wheel of Time. They dropped the ball.
With either of those.
So that's the Lord of the Rings series they just did. Hemorrhage fucking money up it was so bad. Hemorrhage that fucking money.
Fuel.
So what?
Anyway, nothing. It's a song.
Oh, yes, Fuel. For sure. No, we're gonna get copyright struck.
It's not close enough.
So needless to say, Walton Goggins is doing the heavy lifting on this, but I think costumes look great. I'm afraid of it being
costumes.
What's that?
I said, costumes.
Yeah, costumes. Yeah. I think I'm a little worried sometimes that you're getting nostalgia baited on the previews. When they show like the Pit Boy and things like that, it's like the member berries kind of a situation where it's like, all right, I love seeing these video game properties in a live action form, but you got to give me shit on top of that. Yeah. So I don't want to get my hopes up with how good it looks.
Yeah.
I have to see how well it's written and how well it's performed. Like, I saw The Last of Us, and that did well. Let's hope they can follow in the footsteps of a good video game property translation. So, Fallout's got some great shit. If they can get into New Vegas and some of the characters they created on that, dude, they've got endless potential of, like, the stories they could tell there.
Yeah, no, I agree. There has to be substance to go behind the, stuff they're showing us in the trailers to get us to watch it.
Yep.
Yeah. They got me hooked though.
No, I'll definitely check it out. And guys, by the way, that comes out April 11th, and I believe all the episodes are going to be released at once. That's what you said.
Yes, yeah, they're all coming out at one time.
So you're gonna binge it? Time. Do you binge it or do you?
I'm gonna spread it out. So you like... I like to watch my series like I like my women.
Spread out in 20 hours old. All right, shifting to other upcoming games being released. Elden Ring DLC, Shadow of the Erd Tree. Did you watch that preview?
I historically, this has been written in the annals of time. I haven't been a giant Souls person. From software person, not even really a tiny one. I checked those games out, and I'm gonna dive back into Elden Ring a little bit when this comes out.
I think I'll do it beforehand.
Probably, get my tip wet a little bit beforehand. But
is it co-op? I know you can call in people to help.
Well, yeah, but
could we co-op it?
Yeah, but
we should.
But they make it fucking. We can. Gets harder. But they make it like a hard to do. Like there's an item you have to use, to call people in and shit like that. But that's just sound like two guys who don't know anything about Souls games right now.
Well, I historically,
I don't play them a lot,
as it's been written in the annals of time. That I also don't have a huge experience with it, but I know about Let Me Solo Her. So if I can play the game like Let Me Solo Her, you ever watch him?
Yeah,
that's some good shit right there, dude.
Yeah,
that guy knows what the fuck's up.
I don't like torture enough to.
Well, that's just it.
That,
And it's like once you figure out the mechanics of that game, they say it's one of the easier Soulsborns, anyways.
Yeah. So I'll check it out again before that comes out.
Preview looks great though, dude.
Yeah.
I love the world that they created there. It's very dark and kind of like commanding and looming.
You like commanding, don't you?
I like my games like I like my women.
Here you go. Yeah, that's our bit.
Just the concept. I hope you guys like that joke because there's probably going to be a couple more of those in this episode. Oh, so looking forward to that. We'll probably catch up. That comes out June 21st, so that gives us some time to play that a little bit beforehand. I know
there's a lot. There's a lot going on. There's a lot coming out even this month. I don't know how much you want to touch on that, but.
I'll have to look at the ones that I've written down that are coming down this month. But yeah, if you want to talk about, do you have specific ones?
This is my segment now.
Come on, now, take over it.
We'll just zoom in on you. Alex's upcoming games.
Yeah, you look like a newscaster with your papers.
Hello, everybody. This is the month of March, I assume. It'll still be the month of March when this is released.
Unless I drag my ass editing it.
No. It's, what is it? We don't want to date this.
It's the 7th.
Okay.
We said the Fallout trailer came out a couple hours ago.
Yeah, you're right. We did.
It's already dated.
So anyway, when this comes out, these are upcoming games this month that I'm looking forward to somewhat. I guess I'm not looking forward to all these, but tomorrow we have WWE 2K24 coming out.
Do you like those games?
Yeah.
Did you watch wrestling growing up?
I did a little bit when I was growing up. Yeah.
Yeah, I watched it for like a year or two.
Yeah. I was a Hulk Hogan fan.
Oh wow! So you watch it back in the day.
I like his sex tape more than his wrestling.
It's weird. So is his dick the same color as his skin?
It's redder actually. Yeah.
Wow, I didn't think it could happen, guys. Because he has hot dog skin.
He's got a hot dog
peen. His hot dog had the same color.
Has hot dog skin? Yeah, it does.
How's he looking down there?
I don't know. They took it off the internet. TMZ got sued. It was a big story.
It's a damn shame some of this stuff gets taken off the internet.
Yeah,
that's the stuff.
To look at
the world deserves that. That's America's dick right there. That's America's dick.
Yeah. So I mean, it could be fun though. They've been improving those games over the years, and I played wrestling games and then
character creators were so good on those back in the day, dude.
Ooh, I remember making
intros
vaguely homosexual characters. There was a specific wrestling style in the WWE NWO game that was vaguely homoerotic in some sort, where you'd wrap your legs around the guy's head. And take
just like that still, dude. What are you talking about?
Okay. Yeah, you're right. Wrestling.
You like your wrestling like you like your women? Slightly homosexual.
I don't. Oh, okay. I get it now. No, it could be fun. I don't get. I'm trying to be nice to you. Okay?
Why?
Yeah, fuck you.
There you go.
I don't get it.
Give me that shit.
Fuck you. But that's not the big one. Tomorrow, one I'm looking forward to more is Unicorn Overlord. Interesting.
I think I did see the preview for this. Yeah.
Tactical RPG. The art style looks fantastic.
Hell of a name.
Yeah. It's gonna be one of those games that, I mean, it's on every system, but it seems like a Switch game. But it's reminiscent of like a Tactics Ogre type game from back in the day. So I'm intrigued to play that. Then on March 19, we also got MLB The Show.
Okay.
The new version of that, 2K24, I assume it would be at this point, or maybe even 25. I don't know how they do the years in those games.
I don't either.
But then, Alone in the Dark we have on March 20.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I don't know much about that, I'm not going to lie, so we'll skip past that.
Well,
I don't know if it's a re-release or a remake of the original.
I believe it's like a newer game in the franchise. Unless I don't know what this release is. I don't know. I know they're making a new Alone in the Dark.
That's the one, though, I believe.
Yeah. Wow, March 20th. I'm surprised we haven't seen more information on it yet.
It's a big day, though, man. March 22 is going to be a big day, I think, in video games.
What else is coming out the 22nd? A bunch of them that you name?
There's a few games.
Dragon's Dogma 2 is the only one I know of.
Dragon's Dogma 2 is in my opinion, going to come out and fuck a lot of people's holes, if you know what I mean.
Do you mean fucking holes?
I think that it's going to be a real life experience where a dragon comes and fucks you in your sleep.
Oof.
Yeah.
I think pre-orders are probably going to go up after people hear that kind of a statement.
It's got to be someone's fucking fantasy.
Oh, I'm sure it's fucking somebody's fantasy. Dragon's Dogma 2 looks really great.
I don't think it's even a surprise anymore at this point. I think it's going to be a really well-polished experience that's going to be on a lot of people's Game of the Year lists.
So I look at it, and it slightly worries me still, based upon the UI and kind of the shallowness of the system, but I'm not going to go in with any sort of like inhibitions. I'm going to go in with
it's going to be deep. I think it's going to be deep.
I hope so.
I think it's going to shock you, Laird Wysocki.
Well, I'm looking to get shocked. I'm looking to get shocked because I'm hoping for something good because, I mean, when you see that boss battle, that kind of brings back memories of playing Shadow of the Colossus when it comes to scaling a giant. Yeah. I love that, dude. More of that in fucking games, dude. Yeah. That needs to happen more. I've always liked that idea. You know, I was just watching this video today that, you know, because I played the original one, you climb on griffins, you get thrown off and shit, but now you can just like hang on and ride back to their nest. And I mean, it seems like there's a lot of, if you can think of it, you can do it.
I think they're going to blow a lot of people's minds.
That's what it sounds like.
Expand on a lot of things, and that's one of the reasons March 22 looks great.
I agree. One of the bigger reasons.
But Rise of the Ronin comes out March 22.
Oh, damn.
That comes out already.
That's a big one. PS5 exclusive.
Looks fucking great. It looks like in the vein of Ghost of Tsushima with maybe some Dark Souls elements with the traversal. Looks great too. Yep. We've talked about this before.
Co-op, like I said,
great, man.
Is a huge selling point for that game.
So I might wait a second. I might even jump into Rise of the Ronin first before a Dragon's Dogma. But we'll see. And then the third one, there's a third one, March 22, another big, in my opinion, a big one. Might not be considered big for a lot of people, in a very different vein than the other two that we were talking about. Princess Peach Showtime. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a big IP. It's Nintendo's, you know, flagship fucking group of characters in a new franchise. It's going to be good. It's going to be a good game. I don't know how deep or what the experience. I don't know too much about it.
I haven't looked at a ton of gameplay. Is it a platformer just like a Mario game?
I believe so.
Have you watched any gameplay on it?
We've seen just the brief previews.
I think some new shit just came
Directs. out. But I think that's going to be... I don't know how big it's going to be, because I was talking to you earlier how I might be a little past Nintendo at this point.
I mean, I'd agree with that.
As crazy as that sounds.
Why does it sound crazy?
Because those are those first party games are some of the most staple franchises in gaming history, and they're always good too for the most part.
They're so well polished. Nintendo always polishes their properties very well.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
I do the dick joke.
Yeah.
But no, if they make like a mainline Mario game again, you know, like a Galaxy or whatever, that's something I would check out, or a Zelda.
Absolutely.
I don't know how interested I am.
There's something about the character of Peach, and shout out to JP. I know he's listening, one of our biggest fans. Ooh, he loves Peach. Peach is his girl, really? Dude. Hell yeah, he's
gotta be looking forward to this shit.
I bet. So JP, message me when you listen to this and let me know if you're looking forward to that Princess Peach showdown, because
I bet it's gonna be good. Showtime.
Sorry to correct you. Because no, I appreciate that. Because I know they wouldn't make it if no one wasn't interested.
No, I mean...
People are interested in it. People will usually buy anything Mario.
Even those Yoshi games, like
Crafted
the 3D
World.
Those look great. Yeah. I would play the fuck out
I
of
agree.
those.
But have you ever played the demo?
No.
So I played the demo. You know, it's like... it does get a little difficult sometimes when it's so childish.
Yeah. Well, the games are too easy, too, at times.
Yeah, for sure.
So, we'll see.
But then they go extreme, and they're super fucking hard as well. Some of those Mario games.
Yeah.
So it's like... There's
I think there's a fair balance in a lot of those Mario games.
Absolutely.
I mean, they're some of the best fucking games ever created.
The best fucking games, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, March 2/2. It's a big date, man.
Big day for March, fans. What? fans of March out there. 22, looking out. If you are a fan of video games and of the fan of March, there you go.
Oh, man. Those are some lucky people right there.
Other than that, March 26th, South Park Snow Day. I don't know how you feel about that, but that's another one.
I think it probably looks like a good... If you have a group of friends who all have it or are interested, I bet it's a good time.
Yeah, probably fun.
Yeah,
I like South Park.
I think decently disinterested in general. I've never played Stick of Truth or...
Those games are really good. It's interesting that they decided to shift their focus completely into a co-op multiplayer game.
But,
maybe will have some live service elements to it.
I'd have to say it almost inevitably will. By the way it looks systemically how it's built, it has to have live service.
I wonder why they would do that. Could it be money?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Gee, I don't know. Does South Park sell really well almost every time?
Are people going to buy that game and it's going to generate revenue probably over the course of the next few years more than just one release would?
Folks, chime in the comments if you think so.
We're done with these hypothetical questions.
We know this is true. We know it's going to sell well. I
might even play it.
I think it's fun to see him go back to a 3D style, kind of like bringing it back to like the 64 style, but looking much better than it did back then. Yeah, it actually still looks like South Park now, in a 3D format.
Yeah, it could be fun.
Yeah, I agree.
But that's the month of March. That's the end of my...
Yeah, I'd say the only other thing in March that's coming out, Devolver's new game Pepper Grinder comes out the 28th.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if anybody's seen the previews for that, but that game looks pretty damn good. Devolver usually doesn't miss when it comes to the indies that they decide to support. Most of them are winners. So there's a demo for it. I think if people are interested, they should go download it and try it. I'm going to do that as well. I didn't know there was a demo.
The gameplay looks like a blast, and Devolver is always doing, it's always something original.
Yep.
So at the very least, you'll get an original experience out of it.
The very least. So yeah, I think so. Upcoming, we had 2 directs come out during this time period. We had a Nintendo and an Xbox direct. But before we get to those, I do have a couple more games that I wanted to touch on, though.
They call it something different, don't they? Xbox tries to be different.
It wasn't
a project showcase or something.
It was like partner showcase or something like that. Yeah.
Nintendo Direct. Yeah.
Yeah, anyway. Yeah, I know. It's stupid. So, the games I want to touch base on. Firstly, I want to touch base on a movie. Dune 2 came out. I don't know if you're planning on going and seeing that.
I actually have never seen the original Dune.
Dude.
Well,
you're not talking...
Not the old David Lynch.
Yeah, exactly.
I haven't seen that. But, not to talk about Twin Peaks again. But,
right. David Lynch.
I haven't seen that one, and I haven't seen the original Chalamet.
So good.
Yeah.
Dune 2 is probably one of the best movies.
Oh, you saw Dune 2?
Yeah, me and Emily went and saw it a day or two ago. So good, man. Okay. It's everything you want from a movie nowadays. I think most directors and producers right now should be looking at that movie and taking notes. Down to the sound design, dude. Sound design, cinematography, casting, acting. I mean,
Who directs that? Is that Villeneuve?
It's
that guy that directs the newest Blade Runner.
Yeah, that's exactly who it is.
And the first Dune.
Yeah,
right.
Okay. Villeneuve.
Yeah,
Denis Villeneuve.
Yeah. Okay.
And Arrival. I don't know if you ever saw that, but
I didn't.
Great director, man. He just does visuals and sound so well, and he creates looming spectacles really well. And you'll see what I mean when you watch movies like Dune. So good, dude. I would suggest watching the first one and then going and seeing this in theaters.
Yeah. What's interesting, why isn't there a Dune video game? Like
there
a big
is
one?
coming out.
There's like a Spice Wars RTS.
I know, I saw that.
Because
look at the world. Yeah. It's pretty boring. It's a big fucking desert planet.
Yeah.
Did you see Flight Simulator released a Dune mod?
Yeah. I think we talked about this on a prior episode.
So that's cool. Because it gives you missions and everything. Flying the Omnicopter that has like the dragonfly wings. I think that's probably the coolest Dune property you're going to see for a while.
That's cool. But did you just say that they are working on a Dune game?
It's that Spice Wars.
Oh, the one I just talked about?
Yeah,
okay.
I'm pretty sure that's the same one.
No, yeah. I'm thinking like a full-on Dune RPG experience. But I don't know much about the Dune universe, so I can't talk about it.
I read the first book.
Don't have much to say
so
about
good.
it.
Dude, you should watch it because I'm not going to get too into it, but it's a really unique perspective on the hero's journey where they're bringing in... I'm not really spoiling anything because you hear about it in the first movie.
I can stream it. I mean, I might even watch it tonight.
You should. I would suggest that you do. But the hero's journey, but the different spin that they've thrown on it is whether he's the Messiah or not.
Okay.
So it's such a cool kind of like interpretation of the hero's journey. And I'm telling you, dude, the first one's great. I'd honestly say the second one might be better.
I've heard the second one's better.
I think it's
most
better.
People,
yep.
So.
And the weird thing is, so having read the book, the end of the second one, I'm pretty sure is the end of the book, and there is a third one coming out.
Okay.
So here's how Frank Herbert wrote Dune and then died. Not immediately after. He finished it and died right there.
Fucking killed himself
but his son continued the series.
Okay.
So I don't know if they're going to start dipping into his books now.
What if his son just sucked? And like
I've heard it's not as good.
Shit.
He's like, and
then there was some goblin guy and he like took his dick out.
always.
But yeah.
So he wrote semi-erotic goblin porn.
Yeah, exactly. We can't wait.
Yeah, needless to say, Dune 2, I would suggest going and seeing it. If you've seen Dune 1, go to theaters and see it, because unless you have a big TV and surround sound, the experience in the theaters is just, it's unmatched. But
how did we get down that path?
I brought it up before I wanted to talk about the directs. So another game upcoming. I don't know if you watched it. The Little Devil Inside. We got an update. Did you watch that trailer?
It's a game that has been. We saw the first sight of that game probably 5-6 years ago at least.
Yeah.
And very little have we been shown on it.
And actually, it looks completely
really
different now.
Yeah.
I mean, I can look at that and critique it, but I can also be kind of excited about it
really
because
good,
of how different it is. You know, I think the battle system looks a little pal worldy right now when you go over the shoulder like that. It's kind of like that same thing that we're getting with Kingmakers, which is the game I'll bring up next, where you get that over-the-shoulder perspective that like Fortnite has.
Yeah,
and
I guess I didn't get that
has.
from Devil Inside.
Watch the new trailer. That when it goes into the shooting or the battling aspect, it goes into that same perspective. Really? Yeah, everything else is zoomed out, but the art style and the originality of it, I think, could really, because I really don't know what it's about still. Mm-hmm. So I think that's exciting. When
it'll be on the radar for sure. I don't know. I don't think we have a release date on that one yet.
I haven't seen anything. No, that was more of like an update. So I want to swing
releasing later this year.
But swinging into what I had kind of just touched base on, Kingmakers. We both watched a preview on that. I know Jake Baldino and Switch Up. They both. I mean, Skill Up have both talked about this as well. Looks great. What a great concept, dude. It's what I've always thought. Watching these like Lord of the Rings movies growing up was just like, oh, dude, you just get some fucking like modern artillery in there. So if people who don't know, if they haven't watched it, the trailer for Kingmakers, I believe it's PC only, but it's like a medieval war being fought, and then all of a sudden this motherfucker in a pickup truck gets time travels into it and just starts running people over, dude. Comes out with like a 12-gauge shotgun and just starts blowing people up. Great concept.
It's
stupid
like
fun.
If Kid in King Arthur's court was an adult. If he was an adult.
If who?
Never mind. The kid in King Arthur's court. It's a Disney movie where he time travels back to.
Oh, how would I know that? How don't I know that?
I don't know. It seems like it would be up your alley.
Yeah, I'm surprised I don't know it.
So it's like that, but an adult version.
Wow.
Where he fucking kills shit.
He actually takes advantage of
There's some RTS elements to it.
Yeah, the RTS seems a little confusing.
Cool. I'm really looking forward to it. I hope there's enough depth in the gameplay. And it's not just
It looks a little shallow as of now.
Yeah.
You know.
But we'll see what happens with that. We just got a 2024 date on that. No actual date.
Yep.
Just, hey, this is going to be,
And I bet it doesn't come out this year. And I only say that because, and I actually hope it doesn't. Because I think the more time that game has in the oven, the better off it comes out in the end. Because I don't want it to become a day before. The problem is I'm being sold on the concept and not like the gameplay itself. Yeah.
There needs to be more to it. There's got to be like, what do you have? You have a kingdom that you eventually, what are they going to do with it? a kingdom that you're gonna upgrade and
it kind of seems like you're working for both sides.
That would be fucking
It's
cool.
like you're building the kingdom, and then you're the guy who destroys everybody in the kingdom.
It is called Kingmakers.
Yeah.
So
it's pretty dope.
I don't know, but you are, it's gonna be, you're probably warring against some other faction.
Yep.
And you can build a kingdom and go to war against them. But I love a game that uses multiple gameplay elements like that and has like a meta game.
But does them well.
But does it well.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, obviously I'm a big, like, a Dragon Infinite Wealth fan where they throw in mini games like that. But I love when they mix it up because it keeps me interested.
Yep.
And throwing in that RTS element of it looks, looks very interesting.
But I also think, to touch on that before you move on, that can be a double-edged sword, and I think that's why Helldivers is so successful, is because it didn't do something like that.
Yeah.
It picked a lane, stuck in it, and did it well. But I agree that oftentimes I do enjoy having multiple game styles in a game as long as they're executed correctly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then, honestly, I'm drawing a little bit of a blank here. I'm trying to see if I have anything about it. But that game that we saw earlier...
Which one?
I can't remember the name of it, where they ventured out.
It's called Alters.
Alters, that's it.
That was in the Xbox Partner Showcase.
Yeah, so we can talk about that game a little bit.
Right.
That game looks really cool, man.
I agree.
I mean,
it's probably the most exciting thing out of that whole showcase.
It's got the, it almost looks like a
Fallout Shelter,
Returnal. That sci-fi element of it.
Yep.
But then you have your base that looks like Fallout Shelter. So, talking about games that include those multiple elements of things, I love a game that includes like a management sim type element to it. And it sounds like they're gonna, be able to converge those two elements really well.
So, I think
looking forward to that one.
Well, it's cool. It's cool because firstly, original.
Yeah.
And secondly, I mean, just to kind of describe it to the people a little bit more, you're like an individual who is on this like moving wheel of a space station that has a fort that you can build further on it, and you're creating clones of yourself. So the inhabitants of this place seem to be all clones of the same individual with different personalities and needs and skill sets. And then periodically you do go out and you venture and resource gather. So it just seems so cool, dude. I think that, I think rewatching that made me appreciate it more than the first time I watched it too. So probably the most exciting thing coming from that. But, let's shift into that. The Xbox Partner Showcase happened. I don't remember. It was probably like a week ago at this point. I don't recall when I sent that to you. But the first thing they touched base on that I had interest in was the Stalkers games coming to the Xbox. Okay. Now, I played the first one back in the day. These are, kind of survival-based games. Not typically something in my wheelhouse, but the books that they're based on, the book that it's based on, I do enjoy that book. So I'm interested in it just for that. And if I may kind of do a little shoehorn off to another game, Pacific Drive. You played it, am I correct?
Okay, so I did a little bit. I dipped my tip in.
As you do.
As I do. I always mention how I like to dip my tip. But Pacific Drive, it doesn't run as great on my Steam Deck as I wanted it to.
Damn.
I almost wish I would have gotten it on PS5. But using the keyboard is something I wanted to be able to do on it.
Right.
So I needed to give that game a little bit more time.
Did you get your keyboard and mouse for your Steam Deck?
Yeah.
They work pretty well?
Yeah, it does.
Awesome.
There's a little bit of input lag between my on my big screen with that, so I need to use a smaller monitor for it.
Damn.
It's working well.
But Pacific Drive. I mean, you probably haven't delved too much then?
I haven't delved too much, but it is a very unique game. A very difficult game. Very hardcore. Your car gets fucked up in that game. You got to repair every element of your car. And there are, like, I've only given it a couple runs, but there already have been times where you're barely clawing to get to the escape with your car just becoming a jalopy.
Seems thrilling, though.
It's a cool fucking setting. A game I'm going to give more time to.
For sure.
Yeah.
Hopefully you can get it more optimized, like we were talking about before this. That's the difficulty of a PC gaming setup, whether it be Steam Deck or an actual tower or laptop, that, having to optimize performance for that to run well, where, if you had a PS5 version, you probably wouldn't have to dick around with it too much.
Yeah. I'm finding that I'm going to be playing a lot more of the indie style games that aren't like demanding like that. games that I'd probably normally play on Switch, I'm going to be playing on Steam Deck now.
Then why get it? Just because there's games offered on it that aren't offered on the Switch? Is that the idea?
Yeah, that, and there are going to be games like an Enshrouded or Nightingale, another game that came out this past month.
Yeah,
that's been a little bit underwhelming to a lot of people's experience.
It's a shame too because I thought that setting looked really fun.
So, but it does look cool. And there are things in it that look good. But a game like that, excuse me, a Valheim, something like that. To be able to play those kind of games with my friends is worth it. And I am eventually gonna dive more into the UI, like the little intricate aspects and the settings of the Steam Deck and dual boot window, all the nerdy little things that we can talk about that you can do with it to make me able to run more games on that system.
So folks, if you have any suggestions, if you have a Steam Deck and you have suggestions, feel free to chime in the comments.
Get House Flipper 2. I'm going to be playing that later tonight.
We'll be waiting with bated breath to hear your response on it.
The management games. I love those kind of fucking games. We know that. Yes, I love the cozy games, the management games. Fucking, yeah.
You ever think you should have gone into hospitality as a career?
Did. Well, I've restaurants for a while.
That's true. I suppose you would consider. Yeah. I think I'm thinking more like a retailer or a hotel or like a. I feel like you'd be good at it.
I don't know.
You kiss ass pretty well.
I want to sit behind a desk and not fucking do anything.
You want to sit behind a desk, huh?
No. There's times where I do.
You don't know what you want.
I don't know what I want. All right.
But you know what you don't want.
Yeah.
That's the more important part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess.
So shifting, we're going to continue, Pacific Drive, we kind of touched base on that. Shifting back onto the Xbox Direct, I was talking about Stalker. Great to see those games coming. I kind of wish it was a remaster
setting
of
looks
some
great
sort,
in those games. I don't know much about them, but the graphics look fantastic and the setting looks great.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll be interested to check that shit out.
Roadside Picnic is literally the book that Stalker's based on. So if you're ever interested, read that book.
Pacific Drive. I almost actually ordered that book off of Amazon this past
I have it if
week.
you'd like to borrow it.
Really? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Next game on that we're not going to touch base on all the games with the Xbox Direct. Feel free to bring any up that I'm not about to bring up. I only wrote down the ones that I generally had interest in.
Yeah.
The Altars was the next one. So we talked about that. The Sinking City, we got kind of a cinematic reveal. I like an Eldritch horror game, a H.P. Lovecraft theme. I have the Sinking City 1 on Switch. Never played it. And many other games on my playlist are ranking above it, but it looks like a good game. I don't want to give too much on it, because firstly, we didn't see any gameplay for the second one, and I never played the first one. But I like the setting. And then Final Fantasy 14 is coming to Xbox. I think that's exciting I never played it.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know if I'll download it, but because I know there's 1,000+ hours in that easily.
Oh, easily.
It's gonna eat up my time.
An online MMO, or an MMO. It's a little, redundant for me to say an online MMO, but
well, it is.
It's a great game. I put a lot of time into it in the past, and it's worth checking out.
What'd you play it on?
PS5.
I was one. Really?
PS4.
Okay.
Actually. Okay. Yeah, PS4.
That's like when I found its resurgence too. Was around that time, right?
So yeah, it's interesting. Other than that, Sinking City, I don't know too much about. Avowed, whatever. They've touched a little bit on that, I think.
Well, it was we were watching the wrong showcase at first, but Avowed does come out fall 2024.
Yeah. That game does look really good too. I hope they nail it. I like Obsidian, man.
I do too. I hope the best.
A fresh game. I think it'll be good.
I think it's unfortunate, that they were bought up by Microsoft, but now that Xbox is kind of opening their doors to being developed on different systems, I think it brings a fire and a vigor back into Obsidian developing like really well-received games. Yeah.
Visions of Mana is the one that, I think that looks really good too. That was part of the showcase, am I right?
Yeah.
Whatever they call it.
Yep.
So that's coming out this summer. The Secret of Mana is a game I emulated back in the day.
You own the copy,
I own the copy originally, okay?
You're just backing it up. He was just backing. Nintendo loves to sue people too.
But it's a game that I really enjoyed. Just that that era of RPG, SNES, going into the PS1 RPGs is to me the best era of role playing.
I would agree with that. Some of the best ones that stick in my mind during that time period.
But there's even some throwaways that people forget about, like Alundra and like I don't know.
Well, Alundra was more like Zelda.
Yeah, but it's an action RPG.
For sure. Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
It's not turn-based, I guess. Yeah.
No, yeah. But
was Trials and Secret?
Grandia, another
Grandia,
example.
for sure. Did you ever play Skies of Arcadia on Dreamcast?
That's another. I never played it, but that's another, you know, I guess kind of in that era. But, Chrono Trigger, obviously, is still considered.
You ever play Chrono Cross?
Yeah,
I had that for PlayStation.
So, I'm just going on and on about this.
No, we're just talking about RPGs.
But
chime in the comments if you think we should have an RPG specific episode where we just talk about that.
Still do a list.
Like top 5 turn-based, top 5 action,
classic.
You know,
PlayStation 1 RPGs. Yep. I could easily.
Hottest RPG girls, hottest RPG guys. There you go. You're getting a little saucy.
I could easily come up with both those lists.
Yeah, I bet you could.
I could easily come up with a PS1 top 5 RPG that doesn't include a Final Fantasy game.
Any Final Fantasy.
I could do that easily.
I could too. So I would want to include a Final Fantasy though if I was talking about my favorites.
You got Final Fantasy 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
And you got 10.
10 was
and after that you got 11, and then you got 12.
Okay, moving on. On the Xbox Showcase, the last thing I was going to touch base on, all the Personas are coming out for it. Yeah. Not personally my cup of tea, but speaking of RPGs, turn-based.
Those are great games. I mean, they're all, anything Persona is fantastic.
Yep.
I'm a little worried I can't keep track of all the different subtitled, all the different Personas.
I know.
Re-released and remade.
It's a shame it's not just numbers.
Now. They're all really good, though.
Yep.
So.
And then the last thing, and this was on the wrong video we were watching, but Senua Saga Hellblade 2 comes out May 21st, so it's a bit ahead here, but we do have a date on that release. I beat Senua Saga since the last episode we recorded.
Oh, okay.
I beat the first one. What a crazy fucking game, dude. Decently shallow in terms of its battle system and exploration. Okay. Very on rails. Not much like exploration. It's very like
it's linear.
A to B, and maybe you can split off and do like here. I beat it once and I have all but one achievement. That just showcases what kind of game it is. Where it's like, and the only achievement I don't have is like collecting all of a certain item. So that kind of summarizes it. But really a great commentary on like psychosis and like the voices in your head. You don't know what's real and what's fake. You know what's her reality. What's the reality she's created in her head and what actually happened. And it's a pretty deep and actually pretty disturbing game. I was surprised that, coming off of Alan Wake 2 and playing that, I needed something lighthearted afterward. Man. For sure.
You need to play fucking Princess Peach Showtime when it comes out.
That might be a little too extreme. But I did beat BioShock Infinite during that time period as well for the first time.
Okay.
Great.
Okay.
It was great, dude. I mean, again, I'm doing this again to catch up with that newer game that they're coming out with. Ken Levine's making
I can't
some girl's name. I don't recall.
Looks fantastic.
But yeah, now I'm all caught up on my BioShocks. But I gotta play Burial at Sea now, the DLC that came out for. I don't know if you're aware of that DLC.
Not aware of it.
Super cool. Was great. You go back to Rapture as Booker and the girl.
Oh, okay.
So it's like an alternate version of them. I don't know. I mean, no. I'm gonna talk spoilers on this fucking game, but BioShock Infinite has to do with multiple realities of like the same characters, so that's just another existence of them. I haven't finished it yet, so I don't know where that story goes, but that's been fun, man.
It's a classic.
I enjoyed going back and playing that game because, again, it was a very straightforward, linear first-person shooter. I love first-person shooters as it is. So that's kind of been where I've just been knocking games out.
It was a good place for a linear-driven experience like that.
And I think it coexists with these open world and live service games.
Yeah.
I think all of these need to be developed. I don't know if you heard the news, but PlayStation's hemorrhaging money on these single-player game experiences.
There's that word again.
I know.
Hemorrhaging.
It's a damn shame.
Well, I mean, that's kind of what Warner Brothers was getting at with, making live service games like that. That's just, there's more money in it, and unfortunately this is a fucking money-driven business.
Well, they're publicly traded on the stock exchange anymore. You have investors now and shareholders that you have to deliver profits to.
Seems like the best single-player games that aren't live service are being made by indie companies now.
Yeah, agreed.
So, I think that will be a trend to keep an eye on.
It's a damn shame too. I hope it's just done well. That's my only hope. Live service games are going to continue to get developed. I just hope they do it well. Now to wrap up the Xbox Direct, we had Tales of Kenzara. It was a castle. It was like a Metroidvania.
Looks good.
Yep.
The graphics look almost like that new Prince of Persia game that came out.
Kind of mixed with an Ori too.
Yeah.
I want to say it may have been from the developers of Ori. Don't quote me on that, but I want to say somebody had said that previously. So I know they're working on a game right now.
I know people are often quoting us for all of their news and video games, so don't quote them on that.
For sure, please. And then the last thing I want to mention is Frostpunk 2 coming out for the Xbox. A game I've never played, but I've always been really interested because not only is it an RTS, kind of a strategy tactical game in developing this, you have the politics of like the society as well that you're dealing with in like the commerce station there.
It's an intriguing setting for sure.
Yep. And it just seems like there's a lot of like socioeconomic issues that you have to deal with. Where it's like, did you ever play Citizen Sleeper? Or Disco Elysium?
I own both those games.
Right, same.
Fucking barely. I played a little bit of each.
So I only touch base on those because it just seems like there's a depth to it that you have to kind of understand a systematic like establishing of like the guts of the game to understand how to make these decisions. You know? Disco Elysium's so overwhelming, man.
That's probably why I haven't gotten super far in either of those games. I think I have Citizen Sleeper on Switch.
I have Disco Elysium on Switch.
I have Elysium on PS4 or 5.
It's tough, but I know it's a very enriching game.
Yeah.
In terms of, you're not going to get a lot of compelling gameplay, but you're going to get a lot of compelling dialogue and like story arcs.
Yeah, it reminds me of Baldur's Gate almost. Disco Elysium. It's weird to make that comparison. They're very different games. But
very
just
different.
The amount of depth in the choice making and things like that is can be a little overwhelming at
Absolutely.
times,
Absolutely. So yeah, that was the Xbox partner showcase. I think I kind of went in with like low hopes. Last episode I was talking about how promising PlayStation's future is compared to Xbox's. And then I was proven right when Xbox said they're going to stop developing for their system.
Yeah.
But I also look at the showcase and I have hope for it. I have hope for the fact that there's still going to be some quality shit coming out for Xbox that's makes it worth people purchasing. Because look, for a while you had to choose PlayStation or Xbox, and all these people who chose Xbox are just getting thrown into the dirt on that decision.
Well, there's still things that make me like wish I had an Xbox that are going to be coming out. I mean, they haven't discussed releasing anything in the future for Starfield
I've heard.
for PlayStation.
Yeah, or the upcoming Elder Scrolls.
The upcoming Elder Scrolls, the upcoming Indiana Jones game is one that I've got my eye on.
I bet that won't is one of them. You don't think so?
So far they haven't said anything.
Okay.
Yeah, they've said it's an Xbox game.
You still don't hear an announcement for Halo on a PlayStation.
No,
you don't hear an announcement for Gears of War on PlayStation.
And those would sell through the roof too. If
dude, you put a Halo
Infinite on PlayStation right now, it would sell like crazy.
Absolutely. Well, look at Destiny. I mean, you're looking at a Bungie IP. I know it's just 343 that does that, but still, you're looking.
I would rather play Halo than Destiny.
Hell yeah, dude.
That,
But did you see that one of the PS5 free games this month is the Witch King expansion? I'd be down to play that. It's one of the best narratives they've created in the Destiny universe.
I'm a little over Destiny.
I didn't fuck with it too much. I probably put in like 15, 20 hours, so I focused on Warframe. Not to bring that up again. But when I was playing, I was choosing between Warframe or Destiny, and I went Warframe. So, very similar games. Now on to the Nintendo Direct. That actually came out before the Xbox Direct, but we haven't recorded an episode since then. So, there isn't too much to touch base.
How do you feel about that Direct?
I think it's decently boring for the most part. I just, maybe I'm not the target demographic.
I guess that's what I was getting at.
Yeah. I mean, the things I'm excited about from it are things that probably are irrelevant to it being Nintendo exclusive.
Yeah.
But it's also a partner showcase, so it's like it's things that probably aren't just Nintendo exclusive. The first thing was that Epic Mickey.
I think that looks like a lot of fun,
Of course. Oh God.
Sorry.
Yeah. I think I didn't play it back in the day. It looked like it was a pretty fun game.
I never played it back in the day either. I would be willing to revisit it.
Was it Rebrush?
Rebrush. I like the subtitle.
I bet you do.
$60 price tag. I don't know if it is.
Is that what it is?
Oh, I don't know.
It shouldn't be.
But if it is, I'm out.
And what would you pay? What would you pay for it?
I'd pay a solid 30.
Wow.
For an Epic. If it's
got to be 40.
If it's good,
it'll be 40.
You think so?
Or more. It will not be 30. With Disney's IP behind it too.
Yeah, it looks good.
I agree. I think the biggest news to come out of it, inarguably, would be the Star Wars Battlefront coming out. And that's another March release, March 14th. For people out there who didn't hear about this, Star Wars Battlefront is a huge franchise that existed in the Xbox 360 era, but it's being re-released on
this... I've never heard of video games before.
Wait, you think there's people... Yeah, I bet my dad doesn't know about it. My dad plays games.
Too much on my leg.
It's a little skin, baby. But March 14th that comes out. That's so exciting, dude. Maybe it hasn't aged well. I don't know. I haven't played it in so long, but I fucking love those games, dude.
I just hope they can nail it on a Nintendo Switch system with your buddies,
Yeah, it's not necessarily synonymous with good performance on an online setting. But hey, if that comes out for PlayStation and Xbox as well, you're looking at a great situation as well. Where if as long as the online support's there's new maps and new characters being released with it. I don't know if you saw
they're
that
actually going to be developing it.
Well, I don't know. I mean, apparently these maps already existed. People maybe chime in the comments and correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe the PC version had DLC maps that came out, but I know console players didn't get that. Mm-hmm. Did you play Battlefield? The newest ones? What's the Star Wars? Something that came out. But you know what I'm talking about, right? The newest
Star Wars
ones.
Yeah. I played them. They're fun.
Yeah,
they're fun experiences. They look really good. The sound.
Hell yeah,
really
they do.
They nailed just the scope of things.
Why do you think
as far
people
as that
hated
goes.
it so much? Was it the
micro? I think there was.
It was all that, right?
Yeah.
But once they fixed that, why did it never catch on?
I don't know. I think people were over it at that point.
That's interesting.
I've never been a big Star Wars guy personally, so.
Well, I mean, you're in the right place, honestly. It's a fucking shitty IP. When you got movies like Dune 2 coming out, dude, Star Wars directors need to fucking take note, because that's how you do fucking sci-fi right there. Adaptations. Yeah. Well, the new Star Wars movies are all turds. So, fucking fight me on that. I dare you.
I don't have much to say about that. I'm looking forward to it.
Don't
It'll
say
be fun.
anything.
But you asked me questions about it.
That's true. Then don't don't let me ask you questions and say I have nothing to say about that. All right. Create something to say, damn it.
All right. I'm really looking forward to Star Wars.
Well, no, I'm not
talking
to say that.
What I'm saying is I don't want people to, come after me. Big Lucas heads. Is that what they call them?
I feel like Lucas heads have lost a lot of faith once Disney bought it, honestly. So the last thing on the Nintendo Direct that I want to touch base on is one of the games coming out, which is an adaptation into a Switch game. Is Kingdom Come Deliverance is coming out for it. It looks like March 15th. So it's coming out in about 2 weeks here, a little under.
Game that's been out for like a decade now.
Yep. But it's cool to see it come to Switch. I bet it's going to run like ass.
Yeah.
But a cool, challenging first-person melee game that actually brings into consideration how to actually melee. You look at games like Skyrim or even probably Avowed, where it's just like you're just spamming the hit button, hoping it hits. Where Kingdom Come Deliverance had some more nuances to its battling system. It actually made it difficult to be good at that game in the first place.
Yeah,
so,
it's more realistic. Everything like that.
I didn't finish it, but I know the story's pretty good, right? I mean, do you have that game?
I've briefly played it. I got bored pretty quickly with
it. Did you
to
really?
Be honest, yeah.
Was it the setting or what was it?
It was the realism of it. I didn't feel like diving into it.
Yep.
So I don't know. That one wasn't as exciting for me.
For sure.
But Super Monkey Ball Banana Rumble.
Ooh.
You ever heard that combo words?
I have.
Yeah, fucking a new Super Monkey Ball game actually does look like a lot of fun. And playing races with a bunch of people online looks like a lot of fun. And I think that one looks like, once again, a lot of fun. But
folks, I think you heard it here first. He thinks it's fun.
Overall, the Nintendo Direct was a little underwhelming.
I wholeheartedly agree.
So,
and it might be, getting a bit of fatigue when it comes to Nintendo's kind of like quirkiness to some of their IPs. And I'm not even saying like their IPs, Mario and Zelda. I'm talking about just like games that are developed for Nintendo. It's more of a kid system, and I think we need to remember that sometimes when it comes to some of the things being developed. Maybe not curtailing to us so much.
I mean, yeah, and there wasn't really any of those major IP releases during this Direct or anything,
Nothing
to
big.
Keep you going with that.
No.
There was that Fantasy Life I, the girl who steals time. It comes out in October.
Woo!
And we were talking a little bit earlier about how, prior to the podcast, full disclosure, about how I think there's an oversaturation of these cozy kind of games now.
Is that a problem?
it's hard to seep through the bullshit sometimes because some of them are really good, but there's so many of them that rip off of Stardew Valley, which, by the way, March, I think, 16, there's a giant Stardew Valley update coming out.
No shit.
That's going to...
What is it? Do you know anything about it?
People. Yeah, 8-player co-op for PC.
Wow, that's huge, dude.
New farm types, it's supposed to be like anything that concerned Ape, Eric Barone, anything that he has created, he always sets out to make something small and ends up being fucking huge. So that comes out March 16. Keep an eye out for that.
March. It's a busy month.
It's going to be another busy month. But yeah, Fantasy Li-Fi, there's nothing really much to say about that.
It seems like it's right
Nintendo Direct, fucking whatever. But the most intriguing thing on Nintendo Direct, it's stupid to even say this, is another Crab's Treasure, in my opinion. Just a Souls-like. I think it looks cool, another Crab's Treasure. I mean, in comparison to the other fucking shit that they showed during that Direct, a Souls-like in a setting like that.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't know. If they nail the gameplay in that game, it could be fun.
The setting is definitely original. It has Souls-like battle system. Let's hope that it's more than that.
Yeah.
That's always my concern when it comes to something kind of kitschy and like gimmicky, is that it's just that. And then you get into the gameplay. Heaven forbid that's a Soulsborne that's super easy. See, there's my complaint. I'll bring it back to Hellblade's Senua's Sacrifice. Is that the battle system was so shallow that by 10 hours in, I'm bored.
Yeah.
I'm spamming the same moves. It works every damn time, and it just becomes monotonous. And that's almost what I'm afraid with shallow Souls-like copycats, that like you find the routine, the pattern, which is easier to find in these games than it is like a Soulsborne, and it just becomes redundant in 10 hours. So,
well,
I mean, that game is probably only 10 hours long, honestly.
It's not even worth...
Ooh, sorry, we're boring you with this conversation.
No, it's just, it's been hard. It's been really tough.
Oh, God. Well, before this gets too out of control, Alex, is there any other games that you want to bring up real quick?
No. I mean, we pretty much touched base on everything. Another game, Ultros. Do you know much about this platformer that came out recently with that psychedelic art style?
Yeah. I just watched a video on it.
I'm sorry, I'm getting way too comfortable here. This couch it's nice, man.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
But no, that's one I want to try at some point over the next couple months. But yeah, no, we pretty much touched base on everything I wanted to talk about. Yeah.
So everybody, really exciting games coming out. Really exciting games that have come out recently.
March is going to be huge.
Yeah, March is going to be huge. Honestly, April's kind of shaping up to have some pretty exciting releases as well. So, fingers crossed that we have another great year like we did 2023 in terms of releases. So far, it's been pretty promising.
Yeah.
I'll continue plugging along in the games. Right now, I'm playing God of War Ragnarok.
You said it right, guys.
Yep, and I'm getting close to finishing that. So I've just been knocking out games on my list. So like when these new ones come out, I have the time.
Burn them and turn them, baby.
Exactly. And it's a shame because some of these games I really want to explore their worlds a bit more, but like I am kind of keeping a hastened pace to my my gaming. But besides that, yeah, Alex, is there anything else you want to touch base on, or is that pretty much it?
That's it. I don't have any other games to talk about. March 22, man.
March 22.
Keep an eye on that.
You heard it here first. Oh, and by the way, in 3 days, Happy Mario Day. Maybe we see some big announcements happen that day as well.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully God, dude, how awesome would it be if they announced a brand new 3D
It's not very Nintendo-like. They're typically pretty open and loud with their reveals.
Yeah,
beforehand. So, a shadow release or a shadow drop of some big announcement would be like really spectacular, but I'm not holding my breath for it. So
we'll see, March 10. They've done it before, I think, on March 10, but maybe not.
I don't know. I have to look at the history of March 10th and see how many times they've revealed something on it. But yeah, that pretty much wraps it up. Episode 10 in the books. Alex, these folks, they deserve some very insightful knowledge from your vast repertoire of knowledge and learning that you've established over the years. So why don't you just give them a sliver, just a little nibbling, a little tasting of something juicy.
Wait, hold on. So in the past, you've asked me to give like a word of advice or something. Mm-hmm. You want me to give a piece of knowledge now? Yeah. So this is a different question?
Yep, because you ran out of advice. You've been stammering
the
last like 2 or 3
I had
times.
this thing about like taking care of yourself and all that. I was gonna say that, but you asked me to say a fact now.
Not what I said, but tell me a fact then.
I don't know any facts.
Okay, well then continue with what you were going to say.
So make sure to take care of yourself. That's all I have to
That's
say.
it?
That was my advice. I was gonna say.
Take care of yourself.
Make sure you take time to take care of yourself, like I'm not doing recently.
Why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. We're not gonna go into this. This is not what this is about.
You're right. That's not what this is about. It's about video games. So, folks, thanks for tuning in. One more time, make sure I mute that. Thanks for tuning in. Episode 10, Punchline Pixels. We made it to the double digits. Thank you so much for watching and listening. You know, we've made it to 10 episodes. We're going to keep it going strong. Hopefully, we continue to release at least 2 a month and keep this content interesting. We'll probably switch the setting every goddamn time we record an episode. So,
I want to do some live watches here soon.
Yes, yeah. So, nice again, if people are interested in seeing a live watch, you know, us streaming an Xbox Partner Showcase or a PlayStation Direct when it happens and seeing our live reactions to it, I think that'd be pretty entertaining. So if you're interested, chime in the comments. But either way, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't yet. Feel free to leave a comment down there as well. And just get ready because we'll be pumping out some more episodes here soon. Again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.